Well, there's a lot of things individually for me that I worked on throughout the split, and I guess I'm pretty proud of myself in terms of, my last split was like probably the worst split I've played competitively, and I wasn't sure if I was going to come back. As a pro player, you can play poorly, and then you don't know if you're ever going to be back to like your form again. Or maybe you just play poorly the rest of your career until you retire, and that's like the sad side of it. But luckily, I was able to kind of turn it around, and I don't know, I was just really confident in myself this split, and I think I showed that in my play and tried to play a lot better.
This is Zento from Esports Heaven, and I have here with me Stixxay, CLG ADC, and you guys just unfortunately lost against Cloud9 today in the playoffs. And I kind of want to touch on the series overall. How do you feel like the series went in your eyes?
Well, I think going into the series, we thought that C9's a really hard opponent, but I think we thought that we could beat them. It wasn't like unwinnable by any means. And then like the first two games happened, and I was like, wow, we're just kind of getting stomped, and didn't really feel like we could do a lot in the game. So that was really stressful to go through. And then game three, it was like the same thing. We switched up draft a little, and then it was like the same thing where we're just like, wow, we have no options again. It's like really hard. They just have winning lanes everywhere, and we eventually came back somehow. I think C9 just made a lot of mistakes, and we ended up coming back. So we got a win from that, and then we're like, okay, we have to have the mental edge now, right? They must be tilted. Like if you couldn't win that game, I think they were like 10K gold up. Then there's no way that they can just like go into the next game and just stomp us again. There's no way. And then we went to the next game, and then we actually were like stomping them for a bit. And then I think we just weren't able to snowball enough. Definitely, we should have won that game. Probably just like C9 should have won game 3. But we could have won game 4, and then I think, if it made it to game 5, who knows what would have happened. But
so I want to talk about the prep going into this because just from the draft outset, there was one particular draft which I noticed, and I was like, wait, why did they pick that? Which was, you guys got Xayah Rakan in response to Morgana, and I was like, wait, but isn't Morgana a counter to Rakan? Like, what's going on? So, like, could you explain that draft in particular, and like what you guys were thinking about that?
So I think we banned Caitlyn in our eyes. It was like Caitlyn Morgana was like the hard winning lane for Xayah Rakan. So it's like, okay, we'll just ban Caitlyn and see what happens, and we just pick Xayah Rakan, and then they picked Draven Morgana in response. But I guess we weren't expecting them to do that. We were expecting them to pick either, your options are like Varus, Morgana, Draven, Morgana, stuff like that, or you can just pick a normal kind of like 50-50 lane and try to do that. They opted for like the hard punish style, and it was like, oh shit, now we're playing with Draven Morgana. So that was really hard too. We weren't expecting that. But I think we were actually able to manage pretty well. We defended a lot better. I don't know if you remember our tiebreaker game when we were playing versus this Talia or Rek'Sai Morgana like combo where they just came bot and dove every single time. We improved a lot and didn't die to that. And we were actually able to have pressure in our lane, and then I think there was just other mistakes around the map and stuff that we were able to get so far behind, but then we ended up winning the game later.
So in game 1, it seemed very systematic from Cloud9 standpoint in that they were getting everything that they wanted across the map. And one of the biggest criticisms when the casters were talking about it towards the end of the game was that it seemed like you guys just rolled over and didn't do anything. So how was it in your eyes? Like, what do you think the game state was throughout the entire game, and maybe why you guys didn't choose to go in at certain times?
So what happened in the game 1, it was like, we had bot pressure just from drafts, and I think we had 2, I don't even remember the picks, but we ended up losing our other lanes, I think. And what happened in the mid game is like we just have our mid 3 versus their mid 3, and we're winning there, but they have 2 side lanes that are winning, so they can always just collapse first. So it was actually really hard to get a pick on them, and it was like you either fight in like a very fast window, or you can't do anything. And we couldn't find like opportunities to fight, so it ended up just being they just slowly push in everything, and they just slowly get leads everywhere, and it's like really hard to come back from that. And I also think they played really well. It was like they didn't give us a lot of windows to go on them, so I think they just played well, honestly, with their lead.
Last point about the games is I want to touch on Power of Evil's reaction because they posted a funny GIF on Twitter, the LCS account, of him just being like, "What? How did we win that?" So like when they were knocking on the Nexus, like what was going on with the team as you guys started that team fight?
So I've been in that scenario like a lot of times where the game is just completely doomed, and you're just like, okay, guys, we lost, but just go in,
Yeah.
Like that. And we ended up, me and Valfrost were able to like coordinate a pretty good engage, and then we actually just killed them. And then we're like, oh wow, we didn't lose right there. Okay. And then I'm looking at my bags, and I'm like, I have 3,000 gold. Okay, I'm actually stronger than Draven for the rest of the game. And then we just farmed like 1 billion creeps, and then we eventually just like outscaled them from that one play. We just got so many shutdowns on me that I was just able to just carry the game. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we lost, guys, but we just go in, last hope, and then it actually ended up working. I don't think I've ever been on a stage game where that worked. It's usually like you go in, you insta die, and then, okay, we lost.
Yeah.
But we actually won. So that was nice.
I guess there was a stat saying that was the largest comeback this entire split. You guys were down like 10K gold or something.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, I guess, your synergy with Biofrost and how it's significantly changed from spring split to now summer split. You guys look completely different, and you're performing incredibly well. Biofrost is performing well. I mean, you popped off in game 4, doing those little stutter steps next to Drake.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the development of you and Biofrost as a bot lane and why that's the case, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think just previous splits I played with Biofrost, like maybe 2018, I think we were pretty good overall as a bot lane. Spring 2019 was where I think we fell off a lot, and I think this just came from, personally I think we just didn't have a lot of confidence in ourselves, not just like versus each other, but in terms of like each of us individually just didn't have a lot of confidence in our own ability. And I think we went to Korea and we bootcamped and played a lot of games versus good Korean teams, and we got our confidence back, and just from that we were able to just do a lot better as a duo. And yeah, we just played a lot better together. I think we were also like the super vocal part of the team. So it was like those things combined with like leadership, and we just kind of, I don't know, I guess made the team a lot better as a whole.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been pretty nice to be able to like come back to form with him. So.
Okay, cool. So lastly, what's the biggest thing that you've learned throughout this entire split? Like, what do you think has been your biggest improvement, I guess? Has it been the leadership aspect?
Well, there's a lot of things individually for me that I worked on throughout the split, and I guess I'm pretty proud of myself in terms of, my last split was like probably the worst split I've played competitively, and I wasn't sure if I was going to come back. As a pro player, you can play poorly, and then you don't know if you're ever going to be back to like your form again. Maybe you just play poorly the rest of your career until you retire, and that's like the sad side of it. But luckily, I was able to kind of turn it around, and I don't know, I was just really confident in myself this split, and I think I showed that in my play and tried to play a lot better. But yeah, the biggest thing I learned is just be confident in myself, and I think it's just be confident. Yeah.
Confidence.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Well, I think that's all I have for you. This has been Azento from Esports 7 and Stixxay from CLG. Thank you. I assume if you made it this far, you probably enjoyed the content. So if you did, subscribe, and also check out my other content that's more analytical and opinionated. But otherwise, keep it locked at esports7.com, and I'll see you next time. Peace.